There's this misconception that people have about Canadian tourist visa, and I feel I should just use this video to clarify and explain it to you guys. So I had a client who got 9-year tourist visa yesterday, and when I called him and was informing him about it, he just told me that, oh, thank God, oh, I'm not for the next 9 years I would not be leaving Canada. I'm going to stay in Canada and all of that. And I was like, wow, who told you you because you don't have 9-year visa, you can just stay in Canada for 9 years? He was shocked, and I was like, really? No. Yes, you have a 9-year visa, a 9-year tourist visa, but that does not automatically means that once you come to Canada, you're going to stay in Canada for 9 years. No. Right now, you can get up to 10 years tourist visa to Canada, and the visa officer would stamp 10 years visa on your passport. You know, the validity on the stamp will be 10 years, which you will see. But that does not qualify you to stay in Canada for that 10 years. If you have a 10 years, or if you have multiple entry visas that lasts for a long period, you can't stay for that length of time most times. So I'm going to talk about how your visa validity operates, so you can understand what you need to do so that you don't run afoul of the law by now overstaying in Canada and at the end of the day messing up your immigration history. So if you have, like this, my client that had a 9-year visa now, yes, you can come into Canada. When you get into Canada, two things can actually happen. One, at the point of entry, you're going to meet the visa officers or the Canada border service officers who would interview you or ask you questions about your purpose of coming to Canada. At that point, when they talk to you and interview you and ask you questions, they can decide to give you a limited number of days, months, or whatever that you can stay. So for example, if you tell them you are coming for a short visit, maybe you are coming for just a week or 2 weeks, or maybe you're coming for a conference or a specific event, it is possible that the Canada Border Service Officer can give you 2 weeks visit. So when you come into Canada, when you get to the point of entry, when you are leaving the border, check your passports. See whether any date is stamped on it, because whatever date they stamp on your passport means that is the day. You have till that day to leave Canada. I'll repeat that again. When you get to the border, after you're done with the border officers and all of that, check your passports and see if a date was stamped in it. If a particular date was stamped in it, look at that date. Understand that that date is the last day you can spend in Canada legally, even if you have a 10-year visa. But if no date was stamped in your visa, no date was put inside it, it automatically means that you have at least 6 months to stay in Canada, and you know that you won't have any problem at all when you are reapplying again. I'll repeat that again so you can understand it well. When you get to the point of entry, you have interviewed and all of that, check your passport, check your visa page, check whether the visa officer puts a stamp on it that has a date. If they put a stamp on it that has a date, then that is the latest date you can stay in Canada for that period. That does not mean you can still come back. No, you can still come back anytime. But for that stay that you came, for that one that you did, this one that you are in Canada, that date on the stamp that they put in your passport is the last day you must remain in Canada legally. Otherwise, you have issues when you are trying to reapply for a visa. But if no date is stamped in it, it means that you can stay in Canada for like 6 months and there won't be any issue. Now, we have been able to extend people staying in Canada despite that date. So if, for example, you wanted to stay for 30 days or 2 months and because of what you discussed at the point of entry, the visa officer gave you 2 weeks, you can extend your stay in Canada legally. That does not give you automatic stay. Look at that date. If, for example, they gave you 2 weeks, you can, before that 2 weeks expire, you must apply for what we call a visitor's record. A visitor's record will extend your stay legally in Canada, and well, yeah, they will not approve it immediately, but at that point when you apply, as long as you apply before your that date expires, you have what we call implied status, which allows you to continue to stay in Canada for as long as you like, till you hear from them. And if what you want to do has passed, you leave and you update them that, oh, I've left, or I left on this day. That's all. So if you are given 6 months, if they didn't stamp anything on your passport, it's 6 months. But make sure that before the 6 month ends, if you still want to stay in Canada, you apply for what we call a visitor's record. That will allow you to stay legally in Canada. So if you have a 10-year visa, it does not automatically means that you can stay in Canada for 10 years. Every 6 months, you must, before 6 months, if you enter today, you must extend your stay in Canada or apply for a visitor's record before the 6 months expires. Otherwise, you'll be out of status, and that will be an issue. They will say you're not complying with the conditions of your visa, and if you apply for a visa some other time, you may not be approved, and even the one you have can be cancelled. It's possible. So note that if a visa applier gives you a shorter period, you can still extend it. That's one. Then some people don't check their passports when they get to the border. After they have passed the border, they don't check it at all. I've asked a series of people come to me that they overstayed, and we had to now start doing restoration. Some of them we had to tell them you have to leave immediately, because they had already passed the period that they could restore. So don't allow negligence or ignorance. I mean, to mess up your visa history or your travel history, because if it messes it up, it will have a negative effect on your future applications. So if you come to the point of entry anytime, check your passport, check the stamp that the visa officer put on it. If any date is written on it, that's the last day that you can remain in Canada. And if no date is put on it, then you have 6 months. And if you have 6 months and you want to stay longer than 6 months, or you are given 2 weeks or shorter period and you want to stay longer than that, make sure you apply for a visitor's record before that date expires. A visitor record gives you legal status, and even if they've not approved it, it gives you status, what we call implied status, that allows you to remain in Canada while you're waiting for their response. So if you have anybody coming to Canada soon, you have someone that wants to stay long in Canada, you have someone who has a multiple entry visa and will be coming to Canada, kindly share this video with them so that they can understand this and they can know what they need to do when they get to the point of entry, or when the Canada Border Service officers allow them in, so that they can know what to check for on their passports and not mess up their travel history.